Hey there, I'm going to make a little video with some percent application problems. There's four particular problems: commission, sales tax, tips, and discounts. And then you'll have a homework that will follow with examples of all four of those applications. So the first one is a commission. And basically a commission is an amount of money that you earn. It's based off of a percent of an amount of another amount. So, for instance, if you are a realtor and you get 5% commission based off of the amount of the sale of the house, or you might work at a car dealership. You might also get a commission, and there might be some other retail shops that offer commissions to their employees, so that it basically encourages them to sell more products, so you can make more money. Okay, so let's say that we're at a car dealership, and the salesman is going to get 5% commission. And the sale of the car that he or she sells is $24,000. Okay, so basically we want to know how much the salesperson is going to earn from the commission. So 5% of $24,000. And if you, so you can do this a few ways. You could solve it using proportionate ratios, or you could translate this expression into an equation. So I'll go ahead and set it up as a proportionate ratio, but I think in these problems, it's probably going to be easier to just translate it. So, let's go ahead and set it up as proportions. So 5%, that's going to be 5 over 100, and that's going to be equivalent or proportionate to 24,000 as our total or our whole, and we don't know what the commission is. That's going to be the part, okay? And then in that case, you would cross multiply and then divide. So we'll go ahead and do that. So 24,000 times 5. That's going to be 20 and 10, 12. Okay. All right. So we get, I wrote too big here. So we would have, on one side, we would have the 120,000 equals 100 times the n. And then, of course, we would divide by 100. And that would cancel. And whatever this is going to be the amount of the commission. Now, with these hundreds, I could cross off those zeros, and I'm left with $1,200. Now, I think in the problems that I'm showing you today, setting it up as proportionate ratios is really the long way. And so let me show you the shortcut way to doing this, and we'll get the same answer. So again, I'm going to rewrite. We've got 5% of 24,000. And we're just going to translate. We know that of means multiply, and we're going to change this percent problem to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.05, and we'll go ahead and bring this down. So we're multiplying 0.05 to 24,000. Okay, and so if we do the math, we should come up with the same thing. I'll go ahead and work it through here. Now I know you could use a calculator, and as you, beyond this class that you're taking with me, I encourage you to use the calculator because you're going to save some time. But because this is a class that is focusing on number sense and practicing arithmetic skills, I don't want you to use a calculator. I want you to show your work both on your homework and on the tests, as always. So I know, anyway, you know what I mean. So I'll go ahead and do this 20. We're going to get the same thing, 12. And then, of course, we got 2 decimal places, $1,200. Okay, so that's an example of commission. Now let's talk about tax, figuring out tax, or sales tax, or income tax, or whatever. Let's say that we've got a 9% tax, and our subtotal is $42. Subtotal. So we might have bought a few items, but when we add them up, we're going to get a subtotal, and then after the subtotal, that's when you calculate the tax. So it's the same deal. You could figure out as proportionate, but I'm going to go ahead and write it out and then translate. So 9% of 42, that's going to tell us what the tax amount is. So again, I'm going to convert that to a decimal, make the of a multiplication symbol, and then bring down my 42. And then again, if I'm going to just multiply, and 18, and so my taxable amount is $3.78. Now, if I want to know what my total is, I would then have to add this to the original amount. So 42 plus 378 is going to be $45.78. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk about percent increase and percent decrease, and I'll show you a little formula to solve this so that you don't have to, figure out the taxable amount first and then this. It's just done it all in one swoop. But for now, we're just going to focus on these applications using these broken down parts. Okay. Now we're going to calculate a tip. Now generally, tips are 15%, and if you really like what you're getting at, at a restaurant, you might, choose to tip more. But generally, 15% is the minimum that most people tip. So let's say you've got a group of friends, and your subtotal, or your total is going to be $48. So you've got a couple of friends, you're going out for lunch. Okay, and you want to figure out the tip. And so I'll show you the way that we've been doing it, and then also I'll give you a little mental math trick that works very well. Okay, so again, we're going to go 15% of 48. And so again, we want to change that to expression. We're multiplying 0.15 to 48. So again, a little side math here. And we get 40. That's 20 plus 4 is 24. And then 8 and 4. 12. So it looks like the tip is going to be $7.20. Okay, that's the tip. And then, of course, if you want to add that to your 48 to figure out like how much you're going to spend for the day, you can. But I'll stop here. I want to show you a little mental math trick that a lot of people use. Now, if you're tipping 15%, 15% can be broken up into 10% plus 5%, because 10 and 5 make 15. Now, if we take 48, what is 10% of 48? Remember, 10% is the same thing as 0.1 or 1/10. And so if we want to multiply this by 1/10, we're basically just moving the decimal place to the left one place. So 10% of 48 is $4.80, or 4.8. Okay, now 5% is half of 10%. So what's half of $4.80? Well, it's going to be $2.40. And if you just add those up, you're going to get the same amount. And so, now I know a lot of people, they have cell phones and they could probably figure out the tip on their cell phone, but it's nice to know that you could make that mental calculation without the use of a calculator. All right, the last one is calculating a discount or a sale. And again, in that future video, when I talk about percent increase and percent decrease, I'm going to give you a little formula that works it through pretty quick. But right now, let me just show you this method. All right, let's say you go out shopping and you find a nice sweater that costs $36, and there's a sale, and the discount is 30%. And we want to know how much you're going to save and also how much you're going to pay. So first, let's figure out the discount amount. So 30% of 36. Hopefully you're seeing a common thread between all these examples here. So 0.3 times 36, and I'll go ahead and multiply that. That's 18, 9, so 10. $10.80 is what you're going to save, okay? Now, if you want to know how much you're actually going to pay, we need to take the savings and subtract from 36. So 36 minus $10.80. We have 2, 5, 2. So we're going to pay $25.20, which is nice. Now, another way is to kind of shorten this up is to write it out like this. So we're going to take the amount, the cost of the sweater, $36, and we're going to multiply it by 70 or 70% or 0.7. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. So we're going to multiply this. That's going to be 42, 21, so 25. And decimal. Okay, so we need to add a 0 because we're dealing with money. Okay, 25.20, which is the same amount here. The reason I did this is because if I have 100%, okay, that would represent the $36. Okay, that's the cost of the sweater before any discount. Now, if I'm taking away 30%, okay, that means I am really just paying 70% of the cost of the sweater. So I could skip figuring out what the savings is by just multiplying by the percent of the cost that I'm paying. Now, if you need to know the savings amount, then you do want to multiply by the 30% or the 0.3, because that will give you the amount that you're saving. Anyway, it's just a little trick. Anyway, like I said before, the homework is going to have some examples of these types of problems, and I just wanted to give you some examples in this lesson, but I think it's pretty straightforward.